a question.
What subjects will you be talking about tonight?
I will be doing a chunk of time on next year's CMAs. There will be some nudity, some mildly tasteful, some outrageously offensive.
How are you?
Fuck you, dude.
What's the meaning of life?
God, I don't know.
God bless us.
So, I was jerking off this morning to the Statue of Liberty, and usually gets a standing ovation. But, all right, whatever.
All right, I guess we're teammates for the next 20 minutes. Do you want to play forward or defense?
I'll be skins.
Skins? That makes it easier for me. Keep my shirt on. Well, good to see you again, and congratulations on the new special, Making America Great Again.
Thank you, and congratulations to you and AOL and everything you've done for the company. And
You got it.
It's
Well, well, I'm 30 seconds into that, so.
Can I say something that I sort of felt or sensed, and I thought of it when I was coming through and seeing everybody. This place, what happens in this building, this is truly where culture meets code. That occurred to me. It occurred to me, and it's really true. I don't know if that's a good thing. It's probably not, but it is a thing. So.
I'm just going to let that hang for a minute, soak it up. First thing I got to ask you about, David, is new special on Netflix, which is awesome, by the way. And I got to see it live at the Beacon when you were here in town. It looks great. And before you even come out on stage, you have your own custom theme song that tells people to basically shut the fuck up and turn their cell phone off.
Yes.
Who put this together for you?
I had this idea. I can't remember the original idea, but it wasn't as good as what it ended up being. But Britt Daniels from Spoon, I reached out to him about whatever my idea was, like doing like kind of a custom song. I wanted somebody who sounded distinctive, and his vocals, Spoon the music sounds very distinctive, and his idea, which was better, was like, what if I take an existing song and then kind of slide those lyrics halfway through and re-record, and I was like, that's brilliant, and it worked perfectly because I put together a whole kind of mixtape, house music as people came in, and truly my favorite part of touring is putting together the house music, and then it Underdog started, and then about halfway through, the lyrics turned to very specific things like, put your cell phones away, stop talking, I'll come and punch you in the dick, and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it got very specific.
And then it turns into the intro. It's actually, he introduces me at the end, all in the song, so it never stops. The house music is playing, we lower the lights about halfway through the song, and then it's the intro, and I just come out.
And that's that. You're on stage doing your thing, talking about tattoos and Trump in this one. Well, before we get to the content...
That's what I should have named Tattoos and Trump, bro. It's fucking 2016. It's all about tattoos and Trump. That'd be a good tat.
That'd be a hell of a tat, yeah. That'd be an interesting tat.
But it would just be this with an arrow pointing to the word this and Trump. It's like double, triple layer.
Super heady, very meta.
Super, super heady.
Super heady.
That'd also be a good tat. Coming up with a lot of good tats. Where culture meets code, pointing and then an arrow to my dick, right? Right?
We're going to have to open up a shop here, David.
Or like pregnant ladies, where culture meets code, tattoo, but then you'd have the tattoo after you had the kid, so I'll think of that.
We'll figure that one out by the end of the Q&A. Well, we see you waiting in the wings, too, before you come out on stage. Do you still get nervous? I mean, it was your first tour in 6 years, right?
Yeah, at the beginning, yeah, the first show always, and there were a couple shows that, like the New York shows, I got, I don't know if I would say nervous, but definitely there was, not anxiety, but just energy. It was different, and the first show, always when you go out on tour, because there's no way to prep for being in front of 2,000 people doing your set for the first time. So, I whenever I tour, I always do a handful of like secret shows somewhere where I do an hour and see if, but that's about like sequencing and see what bits work where, and if I've guessed right on where they should come, and the layout structure of the hour and 15 minutes or whatever it is. But yeah, you can't practice in front of 2,000 people. So that first show is always like, I hope this works.
Now, how did you feel at the end of the run, like where you're at today? And obviously this thing's on Netflix now, so it's forever, versus where you were when you started, like when I saw you in New York. Or that was about.
Well, it's interesting because this the special was almost literally like almost exactly halfway through the tour, which was 101 shows in the States, Europe, and Canada. And it was the show that this show is quite a bit different than what I started with. And as the show evolved, and I tend to riff a lot on stage, and most of my writing is done on stage. And I would tape the sets, and I'd listen, and I started, because I also didn't want to do over an hour and 15 minutes. I think it starts getting self-indulgent at that point, and very, like by the third show, I was doing an hour and a half. I was like, fuck, all right. So I dropped certain bits, other bits expanded. Obviously, the Trump stuff expanded from when I started in January, when he was just kind of a joke, and collectively as a nation, we were like, that's what he has no chance, and then it, when I taped the special, I think it was down to just him and Cruz and Kasich and Rubio. And then the special is also markedly different than the last show I did at the end of July, in which he was the nominee. He had already given his acceptance speech at the convention, and so that had different tone and tenor and flavor to it. And I was just dropping bits left and right, because as I said, I didn't want to do, certainly not over an hour and a half, with encore and stuff like that. So I was dropping stuff. So this is different than when I started, but also the last show is different than that.
It's crazy how it all works out like that. And yeah, you're tagging new bits, you're making stuff longer, like you said. Well, it's official, Trump is an option. And as scary as that may seem, is it a comedian's wet dream when a situation like this happens? Because it produces so much content.
It's almost, it's frustrating because you don't have to do anything. You don't, like my angle with Trump was mostly about the people that buy into that and who he is. But there's no work to be done. You just quote him. You just say, this is what he said, and then people laugh, and you're like, oh, I guess, all right, that's a quick hour, and so I think, it's kind of incumbent upon the comic to find something else to talk about, not just simply, he's an idiot, So.
Now, of all the things Trump has said, what would make your favorite tattoo? What would be the best Trump tattoo?
I think I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the quote off the top of my head, but where he was answering a question about who he would hire, what his cabinet would be made of, and where he gets his information from. And he said, I consult myself, first of all, because I have a really good brain and I've said a lot of things. So I'd probably put that on my back. It's true. He said that.
Some mild applause for that tattoo. I think they're on board with you. All right, well, in the top of the special, you talk about getting together with your family, which is always an interesting thing. And you talk about family arguments and what that's like being around your family. At what point in your life did you realize that you were smarter than the rest of your family?
Oh, that's mean. That's not fair. I'm not smarter. We're all different. I have two younger sisters, and my mom and my dad I'm estranged from. I haven't talked to him in a lifetime, but we're so very different. It really is interesting. I don't want to. There's some things I can say on stage, some things I say in the special, but there's stuff I cut out because I don't want it out there. I think it's unnecessary and mean. But yeah, we just have very different lives and different values. But to answer your question, probably when I was 8. No, it's very obnoxious.
Well, you were very young when you decided to move to New York City, right? And
No. I took a year off after high school before I went to college, which I went to in Boston. So I was in Atlanta. I grew up there, and I was there till I was 19. Went to Boston to go to school, but I dropped out almost immediately. But stayed. Had a lot of good friends, and the comedy scene was burgeoning and very creative, and birthed a lot of people that are very well known now and have changed comedy for the better, and so it was exciting to be a part of that. And then I moved to LA to go work on the Ben Stiller show, and I didn't move to New York until 2001.
Oh, okay. So the better question would have been, when did you move to New York?
2001.
2001.
But the joke I used to say all the time was when I moved to LA, it was I moved to LA to make enough money so I could move away from LA and never have to live there again, which is kind of what I did.
Yeah.
But I haven't lived there in 15 years. So.
Well, you briefly touched on this sort of magic moment that happened in comedy.
This magic moment.
Not bad, not bad. And it did generate everybody that's on television right now, everyone that's producing shows, everyone that's writing, and this next wave that's happening even more currently is clearly influenced by what you and your peers were able to achieve and just do, and the risks you took. And so thinking back on those times, did you feel like it was risky at the time, or did you just feel like, I don't know anything else, I'm just ignorant, and this is what I do, and this is what I think is great?
It was, more the latter than the former. I think it was, we didn't really, nobody sat around and went, aren't we awesome? I bet in 10 years this will be a movement that is historic, and maybe some lazy journalist will call it alternative comedy. Let's hope. It was, when you're in it, and also myself and a lot of other people were very irresponsible. There are a handful of people that were very driven and focused and had a plan for how they were going to achieve success, but most of us were just playing softball in the day, drinking, going out and doing our sets and doing little sketchy things, and then drinking some more, and then waking up and doing it all over. We weren't outside of a handful of people. It wasn't like this idea of 5-step idea of how we're going to take over comedy. It just sort of happened, But also, comedy was ripe for. It was being inundated with that idea, what we all thought of as the idea of stand-up, which was the blazer, sleeves tucked up, skinny tie against the brick background, talking about airplane food and whatever. That it was just like there was nothing that resonated. They were temporary laughs. You'd laugh and you wouldn't take anything away from it. You'd have a good time, and then myself and all my friends were just tired of that. It didn't appeal to us, you know. So we started doing different stuff.
Well, you brought up the Ben Stiller show, an awesome show, and a show that was very influential. And again, a lot of people worked on that show, have gone on to do great things. What were some of those?
Andy Dick.
What were some of those late night, after hours, writing room, crazy ideas? Like, what were some of those scenarios? Like, take us through a night of.
It was not crazy at all, with the exception of Dino Stamatopoulos. It wasn't. There was nobody who really, burned the candle at both ends, as it were, and also Andy Dick too. But Dino and Andy, but Andy wasn't really a writer. And I came in halfway through. I was a mid-season replacement. They let somebody go, and I was supremely lucky enough to. Janine Garofalo, who was a dear friend, and also really as responsible for what we think of as comedy now, what was then alternative comedy. She's really one of literally not literally a handful of people. Well, it'd be a giant's hand. It'd be a big hand. How big is The Rock's hand? But it would be anyway. And she's small, so maybe okay. But a handful of people that created alternative comedy, or the idea of it and what it became. But she basically got me out there, and I'd met with Ben a couple times, and so I really owe her everything that has all this. Is I go back to Janine and also Judd and Ben to a certain sense. But it wasn't crazy at all. I mean, the writers were. They're hardworking comedy nerds, and there wasn't a lot of crazy partying or anything like that. There really wasn't. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Oh no, I'm not disappointed. I was just curious. There's a lot of great brains in there.
Occasionally, Ben would come and give us all a plate job. We'd go underneath a glass table and he'd take a shit on it to kind of. Is that the story you're looking for? Kind of, give us some motivation to.
I saw the footage, that's why I asked.
Yeah. All right, smart.
The internet's a dangerous place. Well, flash forward to everything you've been able to accomplish. Obviously, Mr. Show is so influential. And then W/Bob and David. Is that how it's technically pronounced, or were you going with Bob and David?
It's with Bob and David because we couldn't get the rights to Mr. Show.
Right.
And it was always the technical, legal name of the show was Mr. Show with Bob and David, so we thought we'll just call it with Bob and David. So.
Now, what was it like to revisit sort of that atmosphere?
I'm saddened that you thought it was.
No, I was just
/Bob and David. That hurts.
It's not even worth saying. I knew it was called that. I just wanted to say that, but.
Do you regret it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. Well, throughout your career, you've been able to not only write, but direct now also. You've done that, and you released it in a very unique way. You did it the BitTorrent way, which I think you're technically the first person to do that, right? Release a film that way. Do you look for different avenues for comedy to be consumed, or did someone approach you with that and say,
that I would love to take credit for that idea. It wasn't my idea. It was came to us either the producers or somebody else had that idea. But I immediately loved it, and we had two. It screened at Sundance, and did mediocre. It didn't handful of people loved it, handful of people hated it. Most people were like, and we got a couple offers that I thought were really underwhelming, and I could see the future of what those offers meant. You'd get paid, everybody would be paid back, but it's really gonna play in New York and LA and Chicago and Seattle and wherever for a week, 2 weeks, and it'll be gone forever. And I didn't like that idea, and it was a cheap movie, so it was like, all right, fuck it, no one got into this movie or worked on it to get rich. Nobody thought that was gonna happen, so what if we just don't sell it, and we'll just release it this way, And I did a Kickstarter thing, and it played in 53 theaters that it would never play in. It would never. I'm all over America and Canada, and places it would never see the light of day. So that was really cool. And it's. I feel very strongly about this, and not just my movie, but any movie should be watched in a theater. It's a different experience. It's always frustrating to me to watch people on the subway with, earbuds in, watching Breaking Bad on their iPhone. Like, what the fuck? They work so fucking hard on that. That you're not supposed. That's not the way this is meant to be consumed. I mean, it's a movie. Go. You have no distractions. Lights go down. 90 minutes later, you've seen a story, and without any distractions. That's how, we worked really hard on it, and so I wanted it to be seen the way it should be seen.
And the movie's called Hits, by the way. Everyone should definitely check it out, and congrats on your directorial debut.
You'll either hate it or love it or be like, meh. It's my guarantee. It's my guarantee to you.
All right, one more question before we get to the audience Q&A. You recently were on a quiz show called Ask Me Another, where you won a pair of cutoff shorts autographed by you.
All right.
I believe, right?
I believe you. I believe I don't. Yeah, okay. And I wasn't. That was probably done quite a while ago, I'm guessing, and they just either re-aired it or aired it or something.
Oh, gotcha. So
it was. I don't. Yeah.
I guess my question is, how do you feel about the autograph thing? Is that a weird? Like it's a weird thing, right?
Well, it's not as weird to me as like a selfie, because those have no value anymore, because everybody, it just doesn't mean anything. And at least an autograph is, I don't do that all the time. I can't, there aren't a million people coming up to you, at the airport or the DMV or wherever, going like, dude. And so an autograph is at least a little bit more special, a little bit, tiny bit. And I remember being a kid and getting Evel Knievel's autograph, and I remember being 18 and getting Elvis Costello's autograph, and how like that, and I carried it around in a wallet that was pushed into swimming pools and accidentally taken in the river, and but I still carried that autograph with me, and that was. And believe me, we had there was no like bond between Elvis Costello and myself. We didn't become best buddies, but I had it and it was tangible, and it meant more to me than I would imagine in this day and age, being one of literally 17,000 photos on my scrolling through a phone. There's no value to that anymore, unfortunately. But so as that doesn't bother me, The people who don't know who I am, who just know I'm on TV and come up and go, dude, fan,
Sure.
What was the thing? Anyway, selfie? That bothers me, There's just no value to it.
Well, thank God for face recognition then. They could figure out who you are after they take the photo.
Yeah, that's good.
And at least tag it properly.
It's awesome, Mark. It's great. It's pretty awesome.
All right, well, let's get...
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Can I get another one of these delicious beers?
Absolutely. We can make that happen. Sure. All right, it's time for some audience Q&A. We're going to the front row right here.
Hey, David. Thanks for being here. I can't wait for the comedy special. So I got two...
Oh, you're in luck. you don't have to wait.
So I got two questions.
Because he can't wait.
Yeah, he
Physically, he's unable to wait. So he's fucking so lucky because it's out there. It's out now. There's no waiting.
Technically, he can't wait if it's already available, right?
It doesn't matter if it's already available. Regardless of that,
right.
He can't wait. He's in a physical and emotional state where he cannot wait. Detrimental things happen if he has to wait. So I'm saying he's very lucky because he doesn't. Thank you very much. Okay. He doesn't have to wait. You're so awesome. Good timing.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's your question?
Well, I got two questions. My first one is...
Look at this. Yeah. Look at this, 2 questions.
Well, my first question is,
All right, greedy.
like, what were the challenges you faced as when you started up as a comedian? And
I refuse to answer that. Go ahead. What's the next one?
And then I was wondering if there was any news about Arrested Development.
I'm glad we got that out of the way. I'll answer the Arrested Development question first, which is, and I'm so sorry to sound like a broken record, but it is absolutely true that and I said this last time when it was, when season 4 was being talked about, but I know as much as you do. I get, most of my information I get from the internet. Occasionally, Jason or Mitch will send out an email, but honestly, we know as much as you do. And I can tell you that we all want it to happen. I know they're trying to make it happen. It's very difficult for 2 reasons. One is there are so many entities that own a piece of it, whether it's like Fox or NBC Universal or whoever, all the different people involved, Imagine, and there's a bunch of different groups that don't care about the art. I mean, a person working there might be psyched to see it, but the entity, the business, the numbers, the money, they don't care. It's just about getting as much as they can. So it takes a while to get everybody on the to agree to the terms, whatever those are. And the second problem is scheduling, because you've got 9 different actors who are all engaged in other projects and don't even necessarily live in the same coast, and so that's difficult getting all of them together. But having said that, I can speak for everybody when I say we all want to do it. We would love to do it. It's one of the greatest gifts I've ever received is being able to play Tobias and say those lines that Mitch and Jim and all those guys write, and I know everybody feels that way. So, and what was the first question? Something about comedy or like? Yeah, well, I had to complete the Ninja Warrior course before they let me go on, and I did not. I mean, the first 6 times. I mean, I got kind of close to the end where you kind of have the one of these, the bars.
The salmon ladder, it's called.
Yeah. So that fucking thing defeated me every single time. But eventually I was able to complete it. Did hit the button, the confetti came down. I got the contract. They handed me a mic, and the tour bus was ready to go. And so yeah, outside of that, that was about it.
All right, next question. We're going back over here. Hello, how you doing, man?
Hi. I thank God had 2 questions. Also, he took one about Arrested Development. My second one is, are you still trying to get into the Blue Man Group?
I walked past the theater on my way here, coming up Lafayette, and it's, sorry, I don't want to get emotional here. I would, would I like to be in it? Of course I would. I can't go to them and anymore and say, hey man, what the fuck? I've done that, and I hired you. You've probably seen the skywriting and all that stuff. I hired the plane, and I did the fake proposal thing. Yes, I would. Yes. Fuck. God damn it! I was promised that wouldn't be asked.
I was told it wasn't going to be. I'm sorry. All right, we got time for one more question right here in the front.
Hey, David.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Look at you. Stand up.
Okay.
Yeah. Come over here to the steps. Come here. Look at you. Come over here. Get up. Come up. Step over. Come over here. Look at him. Yeah. Do it. Turn around. Do it again. Slower, slower. Do it again, slower. A little more. Yep, yep. Yeah, yeah. No, that's a 1.5. Come on, do it. All right. Yes, yes.
Hi.
Oh,
So,
wait. Was that not your question?
no.
Oh, all right.
I have 5 questions, but I'm just gonna ask one. I'm just kidding.
I appreciate it.
So, what do you think that some of Trump supporters actually do like about him, and why they're supporting him?
What do I think they like about him?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of cover that in the special. I'm talking to you. You asked me a question. I'm answering your question. It's kind of rude. You don't. When you're at dinner, do you go like, so tell me about yourself, and then somebody starts talking, you're like, it's social mores, you know. No, here. I'll tell you what. Take a seat. Take a seat. It's all right. It's all right. It's fine. No. You stay there. Take a seat. So. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much covered it in the special. All right, you're free to go. You don't have to, but.
A round of applause for this guy.
Also, I should note that I was talking earlier about how the last show I did at the end of July was different than what was in the special, and how that was different than how I started. But I have a CD coming out of the last. It was the third to last show I did in Toronto, and that has different material. Not 100%, not even 75%, but maybe 50% of the material is different than what is on the special. So that'll be coming out, and the Trump stuff is more has evolved, as you'll see
That's awesome.
or hear. Yeah.
Right here. It is an audio disc, I guess, right? All right, well, let's give another round of applause here for David Cross.
Thank you guys very much.
I want to personally thank you for the greatest sketch ever called The Audition, which taught me what meta was, and I really appreciate that.
It was Dino Stamatopoulos.
Very cool. Yeah, watch The Audition if you haven't seen it. David's amazing in that sketch, a part of Mr. Show. So, again, David Cross, everyone.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Oh, no.